So now I want to invite Julia Schramm to the stage. She's an author and a blogger. She's a member of the Pirate Party and she's very strong ideas about privacy. So maybe we can sit on these cubes and I'll ask you a few questions about your ideas on privacy. And so first of all, which of the speakers did you most agree with?
Well, they all have their points. So I think it's more about business models. So I would say I introduced the fourth business model myself. And distributing my data is kind of my business model, I think. I mean, I'm really young, so maybe we talk in 20 years and let's see how that worked out. But yeah, all of them had interesting points. So I think, well, the second one was a bit paranoid, but
yeah, is that a problem with, it's really difficult, the discussion, because it's such a broad discussion. People say, is privacy important to you? And then everybody says, yes, it's really important. Of course it's important. But then you ask them, fill out this form with everything about you and I'll give you like a €1 discount. And they're like, sure, yeah, I'll tell you everything. So even proponents and opponents of more privacy, less privacy, generally can talk about really different things. So for you, if you talk about that privacy is maybe not as important, because I think that's what you're saying, how would you define that? What kind of privacy is not important?
Well, I think the debate is broad and really everybody projects his own ideas of privacy into this debate. So I think we have the problem that protecting privacy means protecting the individual, protecting the person behind this idea. And I think it's not really efficient to say when we protect data, we protect the person. We talk about business models and we talk about different ideas of the system. This is, I think, the basic differentiation between the people just talked. So we have to ask ourselves, how can we protect the individual in a turbodynamic, changed world? And I think it's more about economic and power, or economy and power and the distribution of it, than about data. I think data is beautiful. Data must flow and should flow, and we are afraid of this flow because we fear repression.
Yeah, and is that a reasonable fear?
Well, in a way, of course it is. As the second speaker said, people can't go to university, or they don't get the job they wanted to. But I think we have two opportunities. So possibilities. On the one hand, we can say we restrict it. We try to protect data as best as possible, and we tell the people, and we tell the people, don't distribute your data at all. Don't tell anything about you in the internet. Or we can try to change the dependencies and to say, well, it doesn't matter if there is a picture of you being drunk, because if you ask an employee or an employer, are you afraid of it? And then he says yes. And if you ask an employer, he says, do you think it's really important to not drink ever? He says no. I think there is it's a kind of irrational fear on the one hand, but on the other hand, we have a kind of crazy system.
Yeah, so you should have the right to get drunk, and you should also have the right to not admit that you got drunk.
Well, everybody drinks, and we can see that most powerful people do the craziest parties ever, so it's kind of, it's biased. So.
But would you be in favor of just everybody who gets drunk post their pictures of them being drunk online? Or would you say, well, don't do it, or do it in, Johan's system so they can always take it off? Or, what is the solution?
Well, I think first we need kind of an enlightenment 2.0. so that the people get self-determined again, and that they know what they are doing, and that they are able to understand what the internet is about and what their data is going to flow, where their data is going to flow. And on the other hand, well, I think if you have, it's kind of, somebody said it was data communism, but it could work because data is an infinite resource. So it's not like in real communism where the resource is closed or where there is not enough resource. So if you put any data on it, and if anybody puts enough data on the internet, it wouldn't matter. Well, you couldn't get money with it, or you couldn't make money with it anymore, but I think that's worth it.
A while ago, there was a company I know, and they hired a girl, and they sent out a press release because it was an important position, and they linked to her Facebook account. And then she said, "Oh, no, you better take that out." So they sent a press release, and then the CEO, a friend of mine, he suddenly thought, why did she ask me to take that out? So he went to the Facebook, and it turned out that she was really involved in the S&M scene, and she had a lot of photos on her Facebook profile of her in, black leather and stuff, and he was kind of shocked. But then he was also relieved that he didn't know in advance, because he thought, it might have clouded my judgment. And now I just hired her without knowing that, and she's great, so it really shouldn't matter. But I think, that's sort of the double-sided sword of, knowing more about people is cool, but sometimes you don't want to know more. So, how do you handle that?
Good question. I think, of course, we can't abolish the idea of privacy or the idea of data protection at once. This is not really intelligent. But I think he still works with her, right? So he doesn't care right now. So I think this is the mentality we should focus on, that everybody has dark secrets, or everybody has some weird stuff in his life. I think this won't happen tomorrow, but it's the same with the homosexual movement, that the people, they got in public and they said, well, I am gay, and I don't care what you say. Yeah. So, and the situation for homosexuals got better the last years. Well, not the last centuries. It's getting worse the last years. Maybe it's important that people, say, well, be tolerant. It's a kind of idealistic opinion, I know, but...
It certainly is. Okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you all for joining the data panel. Thank you.